Welcome back to Charlie's Mailbox. And bit of a different spin this week. I'm actually not at CVU at the moment. I'm at the South by Southwest EDU conference. And if you'll indulge me, I'd love to just share a little bit about what I've taken from this conference. And I should point out that I've really been focused here on any session or workshop or whatever that it has anything to do with AI, as many of them do, and lots of ideas to bring back. But I want to say right off the bat that the thing that's most forward in my mind about this right now is we really need to be talking to students about digital citizenship. AI as a subset of using technology tools in general, but responsible use. Critical thinking when it comes to evaluating, media, all the digital footprint, really thinking about, who's behind tools and all those things, privacy, all that. So I just wanted to put that right out there. But what I'd love to do is just share just a few takeaways. And here's what I'd like to do. Rather than go through it all, as I was going through different sessions, taking notes, and sometimes somebody just says something that sits with me, and I just try to write the quote down verbatim. And I was just going through my notes, and I just grabbed some of these quotes in no particular order, just from different workshops and sessions and keynotes. And if you've watched this far, I really appreciate it. And I'm hoping that if I just share some of these, maybe it'll spark an idea for someone or get a conversation started. And as I said, when I get back, I'd love to have more of these conversations. So thanks for watching. Let's dive in. So in one of my sessions, somebody said, think about, how do I use technology in a way that supports the life I actually want? So that student agency piece. This was a neat one. The brain confuses watching growth with actual growth. This was from a session it's actually about distraction, and about how sometimes we get into watching these instructional videos on YouTube and we think we're learning a lot, but if we don't actually apply it, we're just watching growth. We're not actually growing ourselves. I thought that was a great quote. This was from one of the keynotes. This is actually Ms. Monica. She is a preschool teacher with tons of followers on YouTube. And I loved her questions about how do we evaluate ed tech tools. And here are the questions she asks. Does this tool honor how children learn? Does it support how children grow? Does it help them thrive? Does it protect curiosity and connection? And of course, she went into details on each of these, but I really liked those questions. Tech products either reinforce traditional learning or they promote agency. This was in a different panel, and I really love this one because there are a lot of tech tools that really just sort of do what we've always done, maybe more efficiently. But can we be looking for tools? Should we be looking for tools that promote agency? This was from the climate session, and I thought this was an important thing for students to understand. There is no cloud. The cloud makes it sound as if it's sort of this ethereal thing up in the sky, but what the cloud really is computers that are connected via the internet, and there's lots of infrastructure behind them. And so students really need to be aware of, what is the infrastructure behind these tools that they use, and how can we think about responsible use. I should say, by the way, in the climate session, there was an interesting point that was made that almost paradoxically, I don't know if that's the right word, but AI might just be the thing that gives us lots of solutions to climate issues as well. In any case, how can we capture evidence of learning? So this was a really interesting one. It was about AI tools that can be used to not just at the end of unit assessment type of thing, but sort of on a regular basis, pick up on student learning as they go through and provide evidence. Similar to that, how do we measure whether students are thriving? How can we use tools for that? We don't want a world where machines are learning and humans are not. That was such a great one. And again, this is again about how do we use AI and other tech tools so that we are the learners, right? We're not just feeding machines. Um, do it for me versus teach me how to do it. This was a really great session. This transactional approach to AI versus this transformational approach, and really teaching students that it's not just about getting answers to questions, right? It's about actually, I think that's my next quote. Yep, AI isn't just for answers; it's for improvement. And I use it that way in my class. I have a gem set up in Gemini that really asks students questions and really sort of guides them along their learning. So anyway, just a thought. In one of my groups, someone I really liked this. She talked about discernment rather than critical thinking, and the subtle difference between those two when it comes to evaluating media, evaluating data, etc. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that I want to dive deeper into. That's just some of the quotes. I just wanted to sort of put them out there and hope that maybe that sparks some interest in somebody watching this. And as I said, um, bringing this back, and we're doing a lot of work around AI. And if I could encourage you, please talk to students about how to be safe online, how to use discernment when they are looking at anything that the internet tells them, how to be responsible users of technology. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.